Hello. We'll see if we can have some decent connection this time. We just went out a few times, but we'll see how this works out. Trying it again. Hello. Hi. Hopefully the connection is a little bit better in this one. My connection was off in the first live stream. So we'll see if we can go for an hour. Hi, Robert. How are you? Okay, this is really interesting.
Oh, really? It was the medical board?
So this weird law just passed in North Carolina, just passed a law allowing foreign doctors to practice in the US without training or testing. North Carolina is the only state allowing doctors from Pakistan, Gaza, Syria, Qatar, and Turkey to. Okay, let's see what this is about. So I did see that they just passed this law in North Carolina, but I didn't see anything about it replace. They're trying to take care of their shortage in healthcare by allowing people to have training in foreign countries. So let's see what this is about. I'm curious.
We told you last night that North Carolina just turned itself into a test lab for bargain basement medicine, basically. And you and your family are guinea pigs.
And we kind of want to reiterate some of the things we've already seen with relationship to that, which are kind of really important because we already know there are people here that really, they don't care about you. They care about making money and they care about forwarding their agenda. And I think medicine is probably not at the forefront of what they're thinking.
Well, I don't think so either. So we've got two doctors, Grant Campbell, who is a representative out of Cabarrus County, who quite frankly, I'm extremely disappointed in. And we've got Tim Reeder, who I've talked about for the last 2 years out of Pitt County, who's a representative, both doctors. Doctors should not be in office. Pick one, right? Because they're doing things that are terrible for patients with this bill and great for the hospitals because the hospitals want more workers, right? They can crank out billable hours so they make money.
Well, I think too, people are led down the primrose path when you have someone they think is an expert. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they see things from their vantage point. Doesn't mean it's the overall vantage point. And it also doesn't mean it's the right vantage point.
Yeah. Well, this is terrible. Thanks to Republicans in the state. There's a new licensing category for medical licenses. It's called the Internationally Trained Physician Employee License. And in doing so, they literally have blown up the gold standard protecting patient care. So until now, and in every other state, every physician who wants to practice, let's say they're in, Europe, Ukraine, wherever, they'll come to the US, they will complete a residency, okay? And actually, any doctor, wherever they're from, whether they're from Ukraine, Bangladesh, or Boston, they all have to do a U.S. residency and they all have to pass one of two U.S. licensing tests. So now you can literally be practicing medicine in a tent in Karachi. You come into North Carolina. Yeah. No other state, Margot. North Carolina, you immediately skip the line for any American doctor, okay, that they can hire. And you're not as well trained, period. And who in their infinite wisdom did the Republicans put control of this to? The medical board.
Yeah. Oh, really? It was the medical board? And isn't Tim Reeder on the medical board? I thought he was.
He is not, because far left whack jobs, which he's approaching there, all but 2. I think there's 12 altogether, but all but 2 are appointed by the governor. So all the 10 sitting there now are appointed by Roy Cooper.
Yeah, I
And
know
he's-
the legislature has 2 spots, right? They get to appoint
Right.
2.
Yeah, and they're weak at best. So what we have here is we've got the medical board, unelected officials, medical board, and the Republicans gave them the power. I'm very disappointed.
So yeah, this is crazy. North Carolina just passed a law allowing doctors who are trained in foreign countries, like Pakistan, Syria, Gaza, to come and practice in North Carolina, and some of them can jump the line for American trained doctors. This is crazy. And what they're saying is they put the medical board in charge of this.
With Grant Campbell. I expected better of him.
I just don't understand what the impetus behind this was. I guess I'm kind of scratching my head. Well, but he's not making any money off that. In North Carolina, doctors aren't making any money off that. So how can this be
They
good?
want to cushion their pads when they retire. I'm not saying that about Grant. I'm disappointed at this decision he's made. Tim Reeder is a rat, and anything that man's name is on typically is done for the medical lobby, typically is done not with patients in mind. It's bad. Yeah, you're right. Sadly, there are many Republicans who fit this bill who will do something that's expedient for them. We're going to show you the example of a Pakistani doctor here. The medical board, I turned this into a well-fashioned, legally fashioned document for the medical board. They didn't even sanction him. The medical board today that's going to be looking over all of these doctors said, no problem. So let's go ahead and get this up here. This pisses me off.
I want to look at him. Not only is he a doctor, he's got deep ties, was brought in here from Pakistan by Obama and went to work propagating, get this, and massaging the terrorist message and excusing it. And sitting there and saying that there's a demonstrable difference between ISIS and Islamic Jihad. And there's not. Okay. So I started looking, and then to my surprise, he said he's going to wear his keffiyeh at work. Now, a keffiyeh is a Hamas scarf, right? It's saying that I support terrorism, right? And oh, by the way, you're free to disagree. At least 70% of the country feels that way, okay? So you can disagree, and we can have that. We can't have that discussion. You know why? I'm not talking about it. It's settled for me. That's the way that I conceive of it, and I'm the decider. So here we go. So he's here. This is another doctor, another physician, who's saying this is Holocaust inversion, and it is. To call what's happening in Gaza, first of all, Palestine isn't real. Call what's happening in Gaza, which is a response to a terror attack, a Holocaust, it is insulting. Now, here he is. And by the way, he calls himself, Margot, a public figure. You actually jumped in on us too. He calls himself a public figure. He's a doctor in Catawba County. And he's jumped around hospitals.
I love how he is a mouthpiece for Hamas there. He knows that Hamas does not want to kill Jews. How does he know that?
He is full of shit. He's full of it.
The public
Then-
spokesman. Maybe that'll get him out of surgery.
Then he's talking about Israeli being rapists. So I want to tell you this right now. Okay. If you are a private citizen, you're free to say people from Japan are horrible, whatever. You can do that, right? You're free to do that. But if you're a doctor and you're talking about demonizing people from other countries publicly
Or religions.
that's the problem, because when you go into the doctor, I don't know if you've noticed this, but you get like a form.
Is my connection better? I'm on StreamYard right now. I think it is. Okay, this is almost done. It just has a few more minutes and then we'll move on to something else. I have more exciting stuff. But I just wanted to see. So this is basically North Carolina just passed a law where foreign trained doctors can come into the US and almost like jump the line for American trained doctors. And she's pointing out one that's obviously, okay, thanks. She's pointing out one that has some very concerning things on his social media.
You get 100 forms, right? It's going to ask you what your religion is.
What?
It's going to ask you what languages are spoken in the home. He has access to this. All doctors do, right? And I said, damn, okay, he hates Israelis, so that's my children, right? What languages do we speak in the home? Hebrew and English. Now he's talking about Christians. He's saying Jews are bad, but Christians are really bad.
What this goes back to the Saturday people, Sunday people comment
Right.
that I've always made.
And then
Because-
the
because
Christians
hate
are
is
anti-
hate.
Yeah. And then he's saying that the worst are the Christian Zionists, which, by the way, if you live with a biblical worldview and you're an evangelical, then he's talking to you. Catawba County is 99% evangelical. They're red county. The worst are Christian Zionists who justify land theft and murder in the name of the guy,
So
Jesus, right?
the last sentence is the most offensive. The delusions of organized religion are as amusing as they are criminal. So that is 99% of his base.
Yeah.
And so, what this guy is doing, okay, is demonizing all of his patients.
Yeah, well, and he's in Western North Carolina, which is, predominantly Christian and mostly, I would say, Anglo-Saxon Christian.
So, the medical board has no problem with this guy. And the medical board, by the way, these tweets that he made were done during the workday. During the days he was in a clinic, he hates Christians so badly. He made those posts during clinic hours.
Oh,
Well,
I
I
feel like
mean,
that's
it wouldn't matter if it was clinic hours or not. He hates people.
Well, I
and
mean,
he-
that just shows the vitriol that he has. But what I'm saying is the same people who do not think that that's a problem right there are going to be determining, well, they have oversight over doctors, meaning they can do whatever. We found, by the way, felons, there's plenty of felons who are doctors here in North Carolina. There's plenty of active drug addicts.
but
who
they
are
go to the back of the line now that we have this immigration
Well,
visa thing.
Well, maybe, I don't know. But so felons, terror supporters, drug abusers are able to practice here. And now you brought up the point last night. How the hell do you check somebody's background if they're from Karachi, if they're from wherever? They're not going
And
to have
there's-
any background checks.
There's no such thing as malpractice there like there is here. Like there's a record when people commit malpractice. In small villages in Pakistan, I doubt they have that. And if I were a doctor in a small village who had done some bad things, where would I go to get away?
What is a bad thing? The rape gangs come from Pakistan over in the
Well,
UK. The child grooming games, right? I
Well-
mean, and
Even bad surgeries.
wow.
you guys, we are screwed. And this is because Republicans in North Carolina, I just told you 2 of them.
Wow. So that's North Carolina. And she's right. And the same thing happens with just sanctuary policies in general. Exactly. How do you know their background? How do you know that they haven't done a lot of malpractice? How do you don't, because these countries don't keep the same records as we do. It's the same with just sanctuary policy in general. You can commit a crime in your home country and then come. I've often said, not only do we have sanctuary jurisdictions within our state, not only are we sanctuary for the poor immigrants who just want bread, but we've become a sanctuary for the world's criminals. That's what we have also become. Because your record is basically wiped clean once you get here. Why do you think they find so many IDs along the southern border that people discard? And that's why. Because you can come here and get a clean slate officially. Yeah, and who knows what is even considered malpractice in these areas, or if they even keep records of it. I'm sure, like they were saying, some of these like small little indigenous towns in these areas, how do you even know they keep a record? We don't know. So how does one prove he or she is a doctor with no identification or papers? They just let them walk in. I'm sure for this program they have to have some type of. I was just speaking in general terms of people that come over, but specifically the doctors, I'm sure they do have to have some form of credentials and proof of training in their country, but how do you know it's not fraudulent? I don't know. The whole thing is just, and I guess they're doing it to fix whatever shortage of healthcare workers, but I don't think that that's the answer. Why is the answer always importing people and replacing them with countries that do not have the same standards? Also, countries that have large populations of individuals that hate the West and hate Americans. Just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. Where are you all? There you are. Yeah, you don't know what their standards are. We don't need them or want them. Yeah, start incentivizing other Americans to be trained. And I'm sure there's something about they don't probably have to pay that. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like you don't have to pay them as much either.
Oh, Washington has dropped 24% or whatever in crime. The answer to this problem for Democrats is not, oh, everything's okay. There's nothing to see
Right.
here. Move along, move along. Oh, Washington has dropped 24% or whatever in crime. Well, let me give you some other numbers. The Washington Post took a poll in late April, early May. 91% of Washington residents say crime is a problem. 91%. 51%, it is an extremely serious problem. And John Heilman, we've had people before put this in racial terms. And this is, I must say, this is one thing that I think Democrats have gotten so wrong about crime. So wrong about crime. Let me just read the Washington Post here. There are stark divides among lines of race and income in the poll, with Black residents and lower income residents significantly more worried about crime than white residents and those with higher incomes, as they were last.
So it says, yeah, there are stark divides along lines of race and income in the poll, with Black residents and lower income residents significantly more worried about crime than white residents and those with higher incomes. As they were last year, Black women are among the most concerned, with 65% saying crime is very or extremely serious issue, compared with 82% that said the same.
Last year, Black women are among the most concerned, with 65% saying crime is a very or extremely serious issue, compared with 82% who said the same thing last year. The answer to this.
They're just, this is why the Democrats are having such a big problem right now. They're taking 80-20 things and they're willing to die on the hill of the 20. Like you have to, this is why they're so desperate with trying to gerrymander all these states. and so against Texas redistricting. No wonder. I always ask doctors how they got their doctorate before I let them look at me. Yeah. Like they're now Democrats are now against Trump cracking down on crime. And you know what's really interesting too? One of the most outspoken people against Trump and his National Guard in Washington D.C. is Gavin Newsom. And Gavin Newsom actually he deployed in 2020. Gavin Newsom deployed the National Guard in Los Angeles because of the George Floyd riots. We had them in Los Angeles for about a week. They were just like kind of on every single corner, just there to make sure people are safe. Yeah, leftists seen staggering a lackluster demonstration. And notice the demographic of these individuals. Hold on, let's put it up. Hi, Zach. Yeah, notice the demographic of these individuals. It's probably they're all upper middle class. No offense to anyone that's a boomer, but they're like upper middle class boomer white people. Look at them. Look at them. Like the boomer convention. Again, no disrespect to anyone that is a boomer. But it's just laughable. They have nothing else they're probably retired. They live in nice homes in a nice area of town. They don't have to deal. They don't have to deal with the brunt of the crime.
Several days, you no doubt, and well, if you watched any cable news over the last several days, you no doubt heard an anchor or another anchor or another anchor or another pundit or another commentator, one after the other, claiming that Washington, D.C.'s crime stats are at a 30-year low, all in their quest to discredit President Trump's move to bolster the police in our nation's capital. Well, it turns out, and most thinking people knew this already, the stats were fake. Now we have the receipts. The news site Washington Free Beacon, which I cannot recommend highly enough, dropped a blockbuster story this morning proving that the Washington Police Department intentionally falsified the crime statistics. According to internal records and communications reviewed by reporter Elena Goodman, police leaders repeatedly told officers to downgrade theft cases, knife attacks, and violent assaults to lesser offenses. See how that works? A whistleblower in the department filed a lawsuit and described the scheme this way. She was instructed to downgrade a number of felonies to misdemeanors so that there would be fewer felonies in the statistics. She also provided records showing that police leaders explicitly instructed their subordinates to underclassify certain instances of theft to keep them out of the crime stats the city reports to the public. Folks, we have entered an era of unrepentant propaganda, brought to you by the people who are supposed to give you the real stats, the real news, tell you the real truth. No wonder trust in media has cratered to all-time lows. Washington, D.C. is not a safe place. Anyone who lives there or visits often knows it. But because Donald Trump decided to do something about it, the propaganda machine whirred to life to discredit his decision. And Democrats and his opponents in the media have chosen again to die on the wrong side of another 80-20 hill,
Yep.
although 20
And
may be generous. Now let's listen to CNN's data guru, Harry Enton, this morning, going over the latest crime polling.
I think this sort of gives the game away here because Donald Trump is like Air Jordan towering over Joe Biden when it comes to their handling of crime. Look, in 2024, look at where Biden's net approval was on crime. Way underwater there at minus 26 points. It was one of Biden's worst issues. Granted, pretty much every issue was one of Biden's worst issues. And again, look at where Donald Trump is. Way, way, way above Joe Biden. What is that? That's 27 points. So Americans vastly prefer Donald Trump's approach to crime than they did to Joe Biden's. And again, I think it gets back to the point that Americans are far more hawkish on crime than a lot of Democrats want to admit.
Well. Would you look at that? Let's see who on your television today has the guts to admit their mistakes. I wouldn't hold my breath if I were you.
oh wait, I have that video. I have that video. The chief of police in Washington. Hold on, it's right up here. I just passed it. Here we go.
What does that mean?
Well, is it Pam Bondi speaking? That's what the chain of command is now?
What does that mean?
Well, is it Pam Bondi speaking to the mayor, speaking to you, or how does this work?
So the executive order is clear. The president has requested MPD services in our home rule charter.
I'll play it again. So basically, they're asking the chief of police in Washington. So now that Trump is sending National Guard in, what's going to be your chain of command? And the chief of police was like, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what that means.
That's what the chain of command is now?
What does that mean?
Well, is it Pam Bondi speaking to the mayor, speaking to you, or how does this work?
So the executive order is clear. The president has requested MPD services in our home rule charter, outlines the process. The president designated Attorney General Bondi as his proxy to request services through me.
That's what the chain of command is now?
What does that mean?
Well, is it Pam Bondi speaking to the mayor?
Unbelievable. Here's some more of the pro. That's very low IQ. And again, it's so hypocritical of all these Democrats because, like I said, Gavin Newsom deployed them all over Los Angeles after the George Floyd Summer of Love. Oh, wait, this will be interesting.
Being down in DC. This is a liberal DC election worker who shreds the Democrats and far left media about the lies about the crime being down in DC. Roll this, Phil.
I don't know if I should be saying this on the internet, but as someone who lives in DC, people in DC do not really care that Trump deployed the National Guard. Most people are quiet or like, or are literally like, thank God. The only people I've seen outraged are people from other states. People in DC, quiet. I worked in a local election a few months ago. Mind you, this is a place that voted 90% for Kamala. And by far, the biggest issue for people was crime. People didn't care about anything else. People were going ham. I went to so many forums and people were like, what are you going to do about these badass kids? Lock them up and throw away the key. My personal favorite was if they want to play with guns so much, send them to Afghanistan. A lot of you probably are sitting there thinking a few different things. Number one, you're probably thinking is, oh, this is what the problem with gentrifiers is. Like white people move to a city and complain about crime. No, the district I was working on was a primarily Black district, like 80%. And no, I cannot speak for all of DC, but the group I am noticing this with is not a monolith. And when I noticed this, I even hit up some local politicians I know to make sure I wasn't tripping. I was like, wait, is it just me or does no one care? They're like, our constituents are happy. Mind you, like I was born and raised here. Like somebody was unalived on my front lawn when I was a child. And now the house is worth $1.4 million. And these are people who are just like that. Like these are residents who are hired. And don't mistake this video as me saying I'm for what he's doing. Again, everyone in my circle is extremely liberal. So a big thing I did on that political campaign was crime stats, and they were staggering, they were frightening. And I know MSNBC was fact checking Trump, and they said that crime was down 30%. That is a little deceitful. Violent crime is down 30%. And they're only counting homicide as violent crime. And I've never seen anyone do that. Like that is deceitful. And this is not me saying like, oh, they're justified, but it's more so like the numbers are deceitful. Like I'm not scared of getting shot. I'm scared of them taking away my jacket. Like I have a Canada Goose from literally 2014, and my friend's like, nobody wants to steal your 2014
My
Canada
head
Goose.
might
I'm
explode.
like, they will. But yeah, no. FBI data, which they're using, is broken down into violent crime and property crime. And they're like assault, battery, homicides, robberies, and one more, or like, I don't even know if robberies are violent crime. They are only including homicides. Nobody here is scared of getting shot. And the thing is,
Wow.
Man, is that
Kiss the ring? Kiss the ring, baby. This is guys.
Yes.
Gold.
He's got a prop. Here comes the
Absolute
prop.
gold. Can you believe? Do you understand? She's not a Trump supporter.
Nope.
Yeah.
She's not. Everyone in my circle is liberal. Like this is gold.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just really hopped up this morning. I had some strong coffee.
I love it.
I am so excited about the message and the fact that there are people who would never take Trump's side on anything who are coming out and being like, well, he got this one right. That is so significant. That is so significant. You're going to see her doing the boogie soon on the streets of DC. You're like, let's blast the YMCA. You know, I'm telling you.
Did you notice how fast she was speaking? Is that a liberal woman thing that they just talk that
Or
fast?
maybe they
is that
speed it up for.
Is that
I have a
TikTok
feeling they speed it up.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
God.
so do I.
That's
Yeah.
why I said my head was ready to explode.
Yeah.
She covered like
Again, that's why this is such a weird stance for Democrats to take. They're just like, they're just doubling down on everything. This is one of the reasons why I started getting political, because when you're in fear of your when you're in fear of your safety, when you're in fear of getting robbed in your own neighborhood, you're going to go with it. Now all of a sudden it's personal. Now it's very, very personal, and you're going to go with the person that's going to take care of it. It was the same in 2020 when Gavin Newsom deployed the National Guard in Los Angeles. I was living in West Hollywood at the time, and West Hollywood is like one of the most liberal places that you can live. It is insanely liberal. They all hate Trump there. But when the National Guard was deployed, after we had riots in our neighborhood, after people set businesses on fire in our neighborhoods, every single person, even the most liberal of people, was excited that the National Guard were there because they were keeping our neighborhood safe. And all of those people that came into our neighborhood to destroy it, none of them were actually even from our neighborhood. It was so funny, too, because I remember I would talk about that with some of my friends who are liberal that don't even live in West Hollywood. And I would tell them, no, the people that live there, they were very happy to see the National Guard. And they would literally tell me I was lying. They literally tell you, don't believe your lying eyes. I'm not even joking. Okay. That's how they are. Oh gosh, this is Tim Walz' daughter. This is the daughter of Tim Walz, and this is how she feels about Trump deploying the National Guard in DC. Well, I've read
Jim Crow because that's just like the most basic level reading of that stuff.
I didn't have her up on the screen the whole time. You guys got that right. So it's Tim Walz' daughter on crime. All right, let me read you something. It's really interesting. She brings up all these books. She's got all the buzzwords. That right there is an advertisement to end all liberal arts universities. Okay, this is how you know that Democrats are completely filled with crap. Okay, so this is an excerpt out of Michael Schallenberger's book, San Francisco, Why Progressives Ruin Cities. Americans' high incarceration rate of African Americans resulted in large measure from concerns among Black Americans about rising crimes and violence starting in the 1960s. By 1971, African Americans were 2/3 of all people arrested for homicide and robbery, despite being less than 10% of the population. In 1975, Black people were murdered at a rate nearly 7 times higher than white people. The Congressional Black Caucus worked with then Senator Joe Biden, President Bill Clinton, and Senator Bernie Sanders to pass the 1994 crime bill. How racist can a law be, which the Congressional Black Caucus vigorously supported and even considered too weak? Asked Columbia University President John McWhorter. If we had asked these Black congresspeople in 1986 why they supported these laws, they would have said that they aimed at breaking the horror of the crack culture, which had turned inner cities into war zones by the 1980s. So that's how you know a lot of these Democrats that are now saying that it's racist to fight crime, they had a completely different stance a while back, and it was Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders and Bill Clinton that helped pass the 1994 crime bill. They're all just filled with crap, and they will go wherever they think the Overton window is. But unfortunately, they have not caught on to the fact that the Overton window has long passed their cause, what they're doing right now. I really hope the Dems being on the wrong side of these issues defeats them in the next election. Clinton looks like a Republican compared to the I know. Well, because the Democratic Party, they've just caved to all the radicals. Even Nancy Pelosi looks more like a moderate. They've caved like the old Democratic Party, even the Pelosi's, even the Bidens and the Clintons. They're not radical enough for what the new Democratic Party is. They have just caved to the radicals in their party. And Joe Biden, the thing is, Joe Biden wasn't running the White House. We know that. If he would have ran the White House, if it was just him, it probably would have been just another lame duck, do nothing presidency. But his party was run by the radicals, so they were taking over everything. And that's what the Democratic Party has done. They have completely caved to all the radicals. That's why they're on the 20% of every 80-20 issue. It's like, and they're just doubling down. But I would say even that, like the guy earlier, I would say even that's being fair. It's not even, I don't even think this crime thing is 80-20. I think it's more like 90-10. And they're on this side of the 10%. The content creator, hi, not much. We're just watching videos and making fun of Democrats. That's what we're doing. And it's fun. It's fun to laugh at them because they're easy to laugh at. I was covering sorry. My throat went dry all of a sudden. So I was covering this story of a TikToker. Here, I'll put her up. This is my tweet from earlier. So this TikToker right here, by the name of Tatiana Martinez. So she had a TikTok following of about 30,000 people, and she grew her following by, she's got a lot of videos posted on her TikTok of her doxing ICE agents, basically telling rioters and protesters where these agents are going to be. And guess what happened? Someone probably saw her saw her posts and reported her. Come to find, she is in the country illegally. So ICE tracked her down. This is her last video that she made right here. She's in her Tesla. And this video right here is ICE tracking her down in downtown Los Angeles in a parking garage, and she has been arrested and taken into custody and probably deported. Now that is one of the biggest F around and finds outs that I've seen in a minute. Warms my heart, not gonna lie. Yeah, I mean, the audacity, it blows my mind. Like this whole generation. I mean, when I grew up, our social media was like AOL chat rooms. Okay. So I didn't grow up. We started around college age is when Facebook came out. So my growing up was not on social media. That was more of an adult thing. But this generation that's growing up on social media, they don't realize the implications of the things that they're posting online. I mean, she's posting videos online telling people where ICE agents are going to be. And she's not here legally. Probably not a good idea. Probably a better idea to just, lay low for a little bit. Just lay low. They probably wouldn't have found her if she were to just lay low. Well, a certain European town is absolutely undeniably fed up with certain immigrants and their religious practices, all for worship, but you force others to fear your faith. Well done to that era. Yeah. I mean, the difference between Christians is Christians live and let live. Oh, Arnold did on The View. I wonder if I can pull that up. Arnold Oh, I spelled his name wrong. That's not how you spell it. No. Okay. Here it is.
Reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing when you
Got it.
in this country. Yeah. Did you have a visceral reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing when you see the videos of it?
Well, I tell you, you said that the immigrant, I'm so proud and happy that I was embraced by the American people like that. I mean, imagine they came over here with the age of 21 with absolutely nothing. And then to create a career like that. I mean, in no other country in the world could you do that. Every single thing, if it's my bodybuilding career, if it's my acting career, becoming governor, the beautiful family that I've created, all of this is because of America.
That's true.
And so this is why I'm so happy to see firsthand that this is the greatest country in the world, and this is the land of opportunity. And I think because I'm such a proud American and a proud immigrant that came to America, I was asked to do on July 4th a big speech, the keynote speech at Mount Vernon, where George Washington was laid to rest, and where he lived and all that, to celebrate the 250th anniversary of America, the existence of America. And I will be doing the speech that they asked me because I'm an immigrant, and there will be 7,000 some people there, and there will be people that will be sworn in and will become citizens that day.
That's great.
So it's really a great celebration. This is what this is all about, is to celebrate people becoming Americans and coming to America and all that. And so I just think the world of the great kind of a history that we have with immigrants in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can to keep things clean and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do, rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant, to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. But you have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever.
Yeah, he's right. By the way, he very much is a rhino Republican. Yes, he is. But he's right on this issue. And he's absolutely right too. He was very embraced by Americans. A lot of immigrants are very embraced by Americans. And actually, I think a lot of legal immigrants, sometimes they're more patriotic than some Americans. And the reason for that is because they appreciate America so much. They appreciate the opportunities that they've been able to have here in America, embracing them. Can you tell me why words like dead and suicide are blocked? Oh, because on some, not so much here, but on some other platforms, they have like these like bots that go in and they can find words, and they will lower your reach or take down your videos if they have like too many like graphic things. That's why they do that. Yeah. Like I was doing a live stream once on a different app, and I called myself a retard, and because of that my whole live got restricted. I was literally making fun of myself, and I called myself the R word, and my whole live got restricted. So it's because of that. Some of the algorithms and bots, they're like extremely sensitive. That's why. I know it's cringy to hear people talk like that. But that's why they do it. I hate that they're all so sensitive. Sensitive Sallies. Well, I know, and I know. I was like, I just canceled myself. I just hate speeched myself. How does that happen? I did though. I hate speech myself, and then I got restriction because of it. Because apparently I'm bullying myself. Do you think RFK Jr. is generally? Yeah, I think so. I think he's exposing a lot of things, which I think is really good. Actually, I wouldn't even say I canceled myself. I hate speeched myself. The issue between POTUS and Musk's sorted out. I think it's sorted out, but they're still not like they were. And Musk is just going down a weird path. I don't know. Like, I follow him on X, and all he's posting about now are all these like AI things that he's creating. Weird. Yeah, that's what he's doing now. He's just like, I don't know. See here, I'll show you his. Let's look for Elon Musk. I don't think they're going to be like they were, but I don't think they have any animosity towards each other. Yeah, look, this is Elon Musk's entire. This is what he posts now. This is like his entire thing now. Yeah, see, it's all like this stuff. There's a few. Switching up, yeah, it's just this. See, but then he'll have some interesting stuff. Like, that's pretty interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they have any animosity, but I don't see them being as close as they were. He seems pretty honest to me. The vile comments that Caroline Kennedy and her son made about him are disgusting. I don't remember what she said about him. But yeah, I think what happened is maybe he didn't get everything he wanted in this bill, and maybe he was hoping his relationship with Trump would get more of what he wanted, and it sounded like that's when problems started happening. So I don't know. Anyway, all right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end things. And you all have a good afternoon. I might be back in a little bit. Blah. But thank you for joining. Okay, this one ran a lot better than the last one. I was having some connection issues with the last one, but I'm in a different program now. So, all right. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a good afternoon, and maybe I'll see you later. All right. Bye.